The emergency alarm echoed through the massive chamber of the Galactic Council headquarters. Delegates from 47 different species rushed to their seats, their various forms of communication creating a cacophony of clicks, whistles, and electronic pulses. Something had happened, something serious enough to warrant a full assembly with less than an hour's notice. Krevthor stood at the central podium, his forearms trembling slightly as he prepared to present his findings. As the lead analyst for the Zenthari Collective's Deep Space Reconnaissance Program, he had seen many strange things in his 60 years of service. But nothing had prepared him for what the drones had found in the Orion Spur. "Honored delegates," he began, his translator converting his whistling speech into the common galactic language. 3 cycles ago, our automated survey drones completed their scan of Sector 774. They discovered a system with 9 planets orbiting a yellow dwarf star. The 3rd planet from this star shows signs of intelligent life. A few delegates shifted in their seats, but most remained unmoved. New civilizations were discovered every few years. This was hardly newsworthy. Krevthor's next words changed everything. "The planet is classified as a Class 12 death world." The chamber fell silent. Class 12 death worlds were the most hostile environments in the known galaxy. Planets where the atmosphere itself could kill most species, where natural disasters occurred with terrifying regularity, where evolution had created ecosystems so competitive that every organism was locked in an eternal struggle for survival. "That's impossible," someone called out from the back. "Intelligent life cannot evolve on a Class 12 world. The energy requirements alone would prevent brain development. The species would spend all its resources just surviving." Krevthor touched a control panel, and a holographic display filled the center of the chamber. The image showed a blue and green planet beautiful from space, deceptively peaceful. "This is Earth, as they call it, and I assure you intelligent life exists there. Not only exists, but thrives." He began cycling through the data. The atmospheric composition appeared first. 21% oxygen. Several delegates gasped. Oxygen was corrosive, toxic in high concentrations. Most civilized species breathed nitrogen-based atmospheres with only trace amounts of oxygen. Some needed none at all. "The gravity is 1.3 times our standard," Krevthor continued. "The temperature varies wildly between their equator and poles, with ranges that would be fatal to 60% of known species. They have massive storms that can level entire cities, earthquakes that crack the planet's crust, volcanoes that can alter their global climate." More images appeared. Massive creatures with huge teeth and claws, tiny organisms invisible to the naked eye that could kill with infection, plants that produce toxins as defense mechanisms, the ocean depths filled with predators. Even the land had dangerous creatures at every level of the food chain. "Everything on this planet is trying to kill everything else," Krevthor said quietly, and yet one species rose to dominance. They call themselves humans. The hologram shifted to show images of humans, bipedal creatures, similar in basic structure to several other species in the galaxy, but with notable differences. Their eyes faced forward, the mark of a predator. Their bodies were covered in some clothing, but scans showed dense muscle structure underneath. Their hands had opposable digits capable of both fine manipulation and crushing grip strength. Commander Thelkos, the Council's military advisor, stood from his seat. His crystalline form glowed with agitation. "Show us their biological data," Krevthor obliged. The numbers appeared in the air and the chamber erupted in shocked voices. Humans were persistence hunters. Their bodies could regulate temperature through a unique cooling system that allowed them to run for hours without stopping. On a planet with 1.3 standard gravity, they had developed legs capable of running down prey until the prey collapsed from exhaustion. Most galactic species could sprint for short distances. Humans could jog for hours. Their healing capacity was remarkable. Broken bones would mend themselves. Cuts would seal and leave scar tissue. They could lose significant amounts of blood and survive. They could even regenerate certain organs if given time and medical care. "What is this chemical?" Thelkos pointed to a compound in the bloodstream analysis. "They call it adrenaline," Krevthor replied. "It's a natural combat stimulant. When humans encounter danger, their bodies flood with this chemical. It increases their strength, reduces their perception of pain, sharpens their focus, and accelerates their reaction time. They produce their own battle drugs automatically. The implications were staggering. Every human was a potential warrior, equipped with biological enhancements that most species needed technology to achieve. But the data got worse. Humans had the most varied diet of any known sapient species. They could eat plant matter, animal tissue, fungi, and even certain substances that would be toxic to others. Their digestive systems could extract nutrients from almost anything organic. This meant they could survive on worlds where other species would starve. Their social structure is equally concerning, Krevthor continued. They form what they call bonds with other humans. Family, friends, tribes, nations. They will die to protect these groups, not because of genetic programming or hive mind compulsion, but by choice. Individual humans regularly sacrifice themselves for the good of their pack. He showed footage captured by the drones. Humans running into burning buildings to save others. Humans diving into water to rescue drowning individuals. Humans sharing food with strangers. Humans organizing into groups to build shelters for those who had none. They have something we lost millions of years ago, Krevthor said softly. Empathy combined with action. They don't just feel for others. They do something about it. And they do it even when it puts them at risk. Senior Counselor Vexana rose from her seat. She was old, even by the standards of her long-lived species. She had served on the council for over 1,000 years. She had seen civilizations rise and fall, and she recognized danger when she saw it. What is their technological level? She asked. They have achieved nuclear fission and fusion. They have basic space travel capabilities within their own system. They have satellites in orbit. They have sent probes to their neighboring planets. Our projections indicate they will develop faster than light travel within the next 50 to 100 years. The chamber exploded in panicked voices. A Class 12 Deathworld species with nuclear weapons and approaching FTL capability. The combination was unprecedented. Terrifying. Vexana raised one of her long, thin arms for silence. We have a decision to make. In 50 years, maybe less, these humans will be capable of reaching our worlds. We must decide now what our relationship with them will be. We should make contact immediately, suggested a delegate from the peaceful Lothari Republic. Guide them. Help them transition into galactic society. Are you insane? Thelkos shot back. Did you not hear the analysis? These creatures are apex predators from a hell world. They have weapons that can destroy planets. They have bodies designed for warfare. They have social structures that make them loyal to the point of suicide. If we make contact now while they're still primitive, we risk them seeing us as a threat. Or as allies, the Lothari delegate countered. Vexana considered both positions. She looked at the data again. At the images of humans helping each other. At the readings showing their incredible physical abilities. At the projections of their technological growth. She made her decision. I move that we implement an immediate quarantine of the Sol system, she announced. No contact with humanity. No interference with their development. We will monitor them from a distance, but we will not reveal ourselves. We must contain them until we better understand what they are and what they might become. You want to imprison an entire species? The Lothari delegate asked, shocked. I want to protect the galaxy, Vexana replied coldly. We are not imprisoning them. We are preventing them from becoming a threat to everyone else. Once we have studied them further, once we understand them better, then we can reconsider. But until that day, Earth remains off limits, the vote was called. 46 delegates voted in favor. Only the Lothari delegate abstained. The motion passed. But in the back of the chamber, junior analyst Kelrath sat at his station, reviewing data that the others had not seen. He had been comparing human development to other species at similar stages. He had found something interesting, something that suggested the Council might be making a terrible mistake. Humans were not just survivors. They were adapters. Every challenge their planet threw at them they overcame, not by becoming stronger or faster or more deadly, but by working together, by thinking creatively, by refusing to give up. The Council saw a weapon. Kelrath saw something else. He saw a species that might be exactly what the galaxy needed, if only they were given a chance. He saved his findings to a private file and said nothing. He would wait. He would watch. And when the time came, he would make sure the Council saw what he saw. But for now, the quarantine was in place. Humanity was alone among the stars, unaware that they were being watched, unaware that they had been judged, unaware that the galaxy had decided to fear them before ever saying hello. 6 months had passed since the Council declared the Sol system a quarantine zone. Automated defense satellites now orbited the outer edges of the system, ready to disable any ship that tried to enter or leave. The council believed the situation was under control. They were wrong. Captain Zexril of the Kaldorian merchant vessel Bright Trade had been running cargo routes for 30 years. He knew the shipping lanes better than anyone in his fleet. He knew which systems to avoid, which stations offered the best prices, and which shortcuts would save time without breaking too many regulations. But he had never experienced a catastrophic drive failure in deep space. The warning alarms began screaming as his ship dropped out of faster-than-light travel. His engineer, a nervous young Kaldorian named Pextil, ran diagnostics while Zexril checked their position. His blood went cold when he saw the coordinates. "We're in the quarantine zone," he said quietly. "We're in the human system." Pextil's face went pale. Everyone had heard the stories by now. The council's assessment had leaked through unofficial channels. Class 12 Death World. Apex predators, dangerous beyond measure. And now they were drifting helplessly in human territory with a dead drive and failing life support. "How long until life support fails?" Zexril asked. 8 hours, maybe 10 if we shut down non-essential systems." "Do it. Shut down everything except communications and minimal life support. Send a distress signal on all council frequencies. Maybe someone will hear us before the humans find us." But the distress signal did not reach council space. The quarantine satellites blocked all outgoing transmissions. The only ones who received the signal were the humans themselves. On the bridge of the USS Endeavour, Captain Jake Morrison was reviewing routine patrol reports when his communications officer, Lieutenant Karen Wells, called out. "Captain, I'm picking up a distress signal. Unknown origin, about 4 million kilometers from our position." Jake stood up from his chair. The Endeavour was a science vessel, not built for combat or high-speed rescue, but it was the only Earthship in the area. "Can you identify the source?" "Negative, sir. The signal is using a format I've never seen before. It's definitely not from any Earth vessel." "Captain, I think it might be alien." The bridge went silent. Everyone turned to look at Jake. Humanity had been searching for signs of alien life for over a century. Radio telescopes, space probes, scientific missions, all had turned up nothing. And now a distress call in an unknown format was coming from just a few hours away. Jake made his decision in seconds. "Set course for the signal source. Maximum speed. Wells, keep trying to decode that signal. I want to know what they're saying." "Sir," his first officer, Commander Peter Grant, said carefully, "we don't know anything about these aliens. They could be hostile." "They're in distress," Jake replied simply. "We'll figure out the rest later. Helm, get us there as fast as possible." The Endeavour arrived 3.5 hours later. The alien ship was larger than any human vessel, shaped like a crescent moon with strange markings along its hull. It was clearly damaged. Scorch marks covered one side, and it was venting atmosphere from multiple hull breaches. "Life signs?" Jake asked. "I'm detecting 7 beings, sir. Their biology is different from ours, but they appear to be in distress. The ship's power is failing." Jake opened a communication channel, though he had no idea if they could understand him. "Unknown vessel, this is Captain Jake Morrison of the Earthship Endeavour. We received your distress call. Do you require assistance?" For a long moment there was no response. Then a voice came through the speakers. The translation was rough, clearly done by some kind of automatic system, but the words were understandable. "Earthship. You are human?" "Yes, we are. Do you need help?" Another pause. "You will attack us?" Jake frowned. "Attack you?" "No, you sent a distress signal. We're here to help." "What do you need?" On the bridge of the Bright Trade, Zexril stared at his communication screen in disbelief. The humans were offering to help. They were not attacking. They were not demanding surrender. They were asking what was needed. "Our life support is failing," Zexril transmitted. "Our drive system is destroyed. We cannot repair it ourselves. We will die in approximately 4 hours." "Understood," the human captain replied. "We're going to dock with your vessel. We'll bring repair equipment and do what we can. Stand by." Zexril looked at his crew. They were terrified. The council's report said humans were dangerous, unpredictable, violent. But what choice did they have? They could trust the humans or die in the darkness of space. "Prepare to receive docking," Zexril ordered. The airlocks connected with a hiss. Zexril and his crew waited, weapons ready just in case. The door opened, and for the first time in recorded history, humans and Kaldorians stood face to face. The human captain was tall, with brown skin and dark hair. He wore a blue uniform and had kind eyes. Behind him stood several other humans carrying cases of equipment. None of them had weapons drawn. "I'm Jake Morrison," the captain said, extending his hand in what appeared to be a gesture of greeting. Zexril hesitantly reached out his own hand and Jake grasped it firmly, moving it up and down once. "Let's get your ship working again." What followed was the most exhausting 18 hours of both crews' lives. Chief Engineer Lisa Hayes and her team crawled through the damaged sections of the Caldorian ship, working to repair systems they had never seen before. The technology was completely alien, but Lisa had always been good at figuring out how things worked. "This is incredible," she muttered as she examined the life support system. "They're using a quantum oscillation to filter the atmosphere. I've never seen anything like it. Can you fix it?" Paxtil asked nervously. "Fix it? Probably not completely, but I can jury-rig something that will keep you alive." Lisa opened one of her equipment cases and pulled out a portable atmospheric processor from the Endeavor. "This isn't designed to work with your system, but if I can create an interface between the two systems, I can supplement your failing life support with our technology." "That will damage your own ship's capabilities," Paxtil observed. "Yeah, but you need it more than we do right now. We can get a replacement part shipped from Earth. You don't have time to wait." For the next several hours, Lisa and her team worked alongside the Caldorian crew. They shared tools, ideas, and technical knowledge. The language barrier made things difficult, but engineers spoke a universal language of gestures, diagrams, and creative problem-solving. Captain Jake spent the time talking with Zexril, learning about the galaxy that humanity had been ignorant of. The Galactic Council, the 47-member species, the vast network of civilizations that spanned thousands of light years. And the quarantine. "You are trapped here," Zexril explained. "The Council has declared your system off-limits. They fear you. Fear us? Why?" Zexril hesitated, then decided honesty was better than deception. He explained the Council's assessment. The Class 12 Death World, the biological advantages humans possessed, the potential threat they represented. Jake listened in silence, his expression growing more troubled with each revelation. "So they decided to lock us away without ever talking to us? Without giving us a chance?" "That is correct. That seems pretty unfair." "The Council values safety over fairness," Zexril said quietly. "I am breaking their laws just by speaking with you now. If they knew I was here, I would be punished severely." Jake shook his head. "We're not going to tell anyone. You got unlucky with a drive failure. That could happen to anybody. As far as we're concerned, you were never here. You would protect us, even though we are part of the organization that has imprisoned you? You didn't make that decision. You're just a merchant trying to survive. I'm not going to make your life harder because some politicians light years away are afraid of things they don't understand." When Lisa finally finished the repairs, the Caldorian life support was functioning again. It would not win any awards, but it would keep the crew alive until they could reach a proper repair station. The Endeavor, however, was now short one critical atmospheric processor. "That's going to be a problem," Commander Peter Grant observed. "We don't have the spare parts to fix that. We're going to be stuck here until a supply ship reaches us." "That could be weeks," Jake shrugged. "Then we wait. It's not like we had anywhere urgent to be." Zexril overheard this exchange. "You have stranded yourselves to save us?" "We haven't stranded ourselves. We're just going to be here a while. We've got supplies, working life support, and a working engine even if it's not at full capacity. We'll be fine." "Why?" Zexril asked. It was the question that had been bothering him since the moment the humans arrived. "Why would you risk your ship and your crew for strangers? We are nothing to you. You owe us nothing. We are not even the same species. Why help us?" Jake looked at him with genuine confusion, as if the question made no sense. "Because you needed help. What other reason do we need?" The simplicity of the answer shocked Zexril more than anything else. In galactic society, aid came with prices, contracts, obligations. Even between allies, assistance was calculated and measured. But these humans had helped for no reason other than it was the right thing to do. When the bright trade was ready to depart, Zexril stood at the airlock, facing Captain Jake one last time. "I will report this incident to the..." Junior analyst Kelrath sat in his small office, surrounded by screens displaying data about humanity. For the past 3 months, he had been investigating every single interaction between humans and the handful of species who had accidentally encountered them. What he had found was keeping him awake at night. The Council had dismissed Captain Zexril's report. They said he was suffering from trauma, that his judgment was impaired by the near-death experience. But Kelrath had found 7 other incidents. 7 other ships that had stumbled into the Sol system by accident or equipment failure. 7 other crews who had met humans, and every single report told the same story. Humans helped. Always. Without question. Without asking for payment. Without demanding anything in return. Kelrath compiled his findings into a presentation and requested an emergency session with the council. To his surprise, they agreed. Perhaps they were curious. Perhaps they simply wanted to dismiss his concerns and move on. Either way, he now stood before the assembled delegates preparing to tell them they had made a terrible mistake. Honored council members, he began. I have been reviewing all available data on human behavior. Not just the biological assessments and planetary analysis, but actual documented interactions. I believe our understanding of humanity is dangerously incomplete. Senior Counselor Vexana looked bored. We have already established that humans are a threat. What new information could possibly change this assessment? Kelrath brought up the first video. It showed human soldiers during one of their training exercises. Earth had been broadcasting these military demonstrations into space, unaware that anyone was watching. The Council had used these videos as proof of human aggression, but Kelrath had analyzed them differently. Watch this human soldier. His designation is Sergeant Danny Pierce. He is participating in a training exercise. His squad has been ordered to hold a defensive position against a simulated enemy force. The video played. Pierce and his team were dug into a hillside position, exchanging fire with opposing forces. Then, one by one, his teammates were eliminated from the exercise. In training, eliminated soldiers simply left the field. Pierce was alone. According to the exercise parameters, he should surrender at this point. The opposing force outnumbers him 10-1. Continuing is illogical. But watch what he does. Pierce did not surrender. For 6 hours he held that position alone. He moved constantly, making the enemy think there were more defenders than there actually were. He rationed his ammunition. He set up false positions to draw fire. When he was injured by a training accident, he treated his own wounds and kept fighting. When the exercise finally ended, his commanding officer asked him why he did not surrender. Pierce's response was simple. Because my team was counting on me. Even if they weren't here anymore, I couldn't let them down. This is supposed to reassure us? Commander Thelkos asked. You have shown us a human who refuses to accept defeat even when defeat is logical. This proves they are dangerous. No, Kelrath replied. It proves they are loyal. Watch this next footage. He showed a video from Earth's planetary network. A building was on fire. Human civilians were fleeing, but several humans in specialized uniforms were running toward the flames, not away from them. They were firefighters, Kelrath explained. Humans whose job was to enter burning structures and save others. The footage showed one firefighter, a woman named Claire Stevens, carrying an unconscious child out of the building. The structure was collapsing around her. Any rational being would have saved themselves. But Claire went back inside. 3 more times. She rescued 2 more children and an elderly person before the building finally collapsed completely. She survived, but barely. She spent weeks recovering from her injuries. When interviewed later, she said she was just doing her job. Just doing what anyone would do. What anyone would do, Kelrath repeated. She believed this was normal behavior. She could not imagine not trying to save those people. He showed more footage. Humans diving into water to save drowning swimmers, even when they put themselves at risk. Humans organizing into groups to build homes for those who had lost everything in natural disasters. Humans sharing food with strangers during shortages. Humans protecting each other from predators, criminals, and dangers of all kinds. The Council analyzed human biology and saw weapons. Kelrath said, We saw their strength and endurance and assumed they would use it for conquest. But we never asked what they actually use it for. They use it to help each other. They use it to protect the weak. They use it to survive impossible situations so they can save others. Vexana shifted uncomfortably. These are isolated incidents. Cherry-picked examples to support your narrative. No, Counselor. These are not isolated. I have analyzed 10,000 hours of human communication broadcasts. This behavior is constant across all their cultures, nations, and social groups. They argue about many things. They have conflicts and disagreements, but the underlying principle is always the same. They believe in helping others even at cost to themselves. Kelrath brought up the next set of data. Medical records obtained through long-range scanning. Look at these injury reports. This human, Lieutenant Roger Barnes, was in a vehicle accident. He suffered compound fractures to both legs. According to our medical understanding, he should have been incapacitated for months. He was back on duty in 6 weeks. More records appeared. Humans recovering from injuries that would kill other species. Humans surviving diseases that should have been fatal. Humans living through accidents that defied probability. They heal faster than they should. They survive longer than they should. They keep functioning when their bodies should shut down. And do you know why? The council waited silently. Because they have something to live for. Because people are depending on them. Because they have made commitments they will not break. Their mental determination actually affects their physical recovery. This should be impossible, but we have documented it repeatedly. Commander Thelko stood up, his crystalline form glowing with agitation. What is your point, junior analyst? That humans are hard to kill? We already knew this. It makes them more dangerous, not less. My point, Kelrath said firmly, is that we have been analyzing them wrong from the beginning. We have been looking at individual humans and assessing their threat potential. But humans are not individuals. They are pack creatures. They are strongest when working together. He brought up organizational charts, human military units, scientific research teams, emergency response groups, business corporations, families, communities, nations. Every human is part of multiple overlapping groups. They have families they will die for, friends they will sacrifice for, teams they will not abandon, communities they will defend, nations they will fight for, and Earth itself, their planet, their home, which they call their mother. The implications began to sink in across the council chamber. If individual humans were weapons, what were organized groups of humans? What was a planet of 8 billion humans working together? This changes nothing, Vexana insisted, but her voice lacked conviction. They are still dangerous. Yes, Kelrath agreed. They are incredibly dangerous. But dangerous to whom? I have found no evidence of humans attacking unprovoked. None. Every conflict in their history started because one group felt threatened by another, or because resources were scarce, or because of misunderstandings. But I have never found humans attacking simply because they could. They always have a reason, even if that reason is based on incorrect information. He paused, letting that sink in. We have made them feel threatened. We have locked them in their home system without explanation. We have hidden ourselves from them, making them think they are alone in the universe. We have treated them as enemies before they even knew we existed. What do you think they will do when they finally break through our quarantine? The chamber fell silent. The delegates looked at each other uncomfortably. They will break through, Kelrath continued. Their technology is advancing faster than our projections predicted. They will have working faster than light drives within 5 years, not 50. And when they emerge into the galaxy, they will find a council that has been watching them secretly, judging them, containing them. How do you think they will react? They will attack, Thelko said grimly. No, Kelrath replied. They will be hurt. They will feel betrayed. They will wonder what they did wrong to deserve such treatment. And then, because they are human, they will probably still offer to be friends. But we will have lost their trust. We will have made enemies out of beings who desperately want to find friends among the stars. Vexana stood slowly. What do you propose, junior analyst? End the quarantine. Make contact now on honest terms. Explain our fears. Ask for dialogue. Treat them as potential allies instead of threats. Because I promise you, counselor, if we wait until they break through on their own, we will regret it. Not because they will attack us, but because we will have thrown away the opportunity to gain the most valuable allies in the galaxy. The council debated for hours. Some agreed with Kelrath. Others insisted the quarantine must continue. Thelkos ordered a complete reanalysis of Earth's military capabilities, wanting hard numbers on what humans could do in actual combat. Captain Nicole Chen stood on the bridge of the USS Pathfinder, watching the final countdown on her display. 2 years of development, hundreds of scientists working around the clock, thousands of test simulations, and now humanity was about to make its first official journey beyond the Sol system using a working faster-than-light drive. All stations report ready. Captain, Lieutenant Kevin Grant announced from the tactical station. His hands moved across his console, checking and rechecking the ship's systems. Kevin was nervous, though he tried to hide it. Everyone on board was nervous. This was history happening in real time. Engineering? Nicole called out. FTL drive is charged and stable. Chief Engineer Paul Martinez replied over the intercom. His voice was calm, but Nicole could hear the excitement underneath. Paul had helped design this drive. It was his baby as much as anyone's. We're ready to make the jump whenever you give the word, Captain. Nicole took a deep breath. The Pathfinder was not a warship. It was a science vessel designed for exploration and research. Its crew of 43 people were scientists, engineers, and support staff. They carried only basic defensive weapons, enough to deflect small asteroids and space debris. Against any real threat, they were helpless. But that did not matter right now. They were not going out to fight. They were going out to explore, to see what was beyond their home system, to maybe finally find out if humanity was alone in the universe. Take us out, Nicole ordered. Destination Alpha Centauri. Let's see what's out there. The drive activated. Space twisted around the Pathfinder, and for a moment that felt like forever. The ship existed in multiple places at once. Then reality snapped back into focus and they were elsewhere. The journey that would have taken years with conventional engines was complete in minutes. Jump successful, Kevin reported. All systems nominal. We're exactly where we should be. Captain, the drive works. We actually did it. The bridge crew erupted in cheers. Nicole allowed herself a smile. Humanity had just broken the light speed barrier. They were officially an interstellar species. Everything changed now. Begin scanning the surrounding space, Nicole ordered. Let's catalog everything we can see. This is why we came out here. For the next hour, the crew worked excitedly, gathering data on the Alpha Centauri system, but their celebration was cut short when Kevin's console started beeping urgently. Captain, I'm detecting multiple energy signatures. Large ones. They just appeared on sensors like they were waiting for us. Waiting for us? That's not possible. How could anyone know we were coming here? I don't know, Captain, but they're surrounding us. 37 vessels, all significantly larger than the Pathfinder. They're closing in. Nicole felt her heart sink. This was first contact, but not the kind anyone had hoped for. Red alert. All hands to stations.
Can you identify them?
Negative. I've never seen ship designs like this. Wait, I'm receiving a transmission. It's using a format our computers don't recognize, but there's an automatic translation protocol activating. A voice came through the speakers. It was deep and resonant, clearly artificial or heavily filtered. Human vessel, you are in violation of Galactic Council quarantine law. Power down your engines and prepare to be boarded. Nicole exchanged glances with her bridge crew. Galactic Council? Quarantine? What was happening? This is Captain Nicole Chen of the United Earthship Pathfinder. We're on a peaceful scientific mission. We mean no harm to anyone. Can you please explain what quarantine you're referring to? The voice replied immediately. You are from the planet Earth, correct? Yes, we are. Then you are in violation. The Sol system has been under quarantine for the past 2 years. No vessels are permitted to enter or leave. Return to your home system immediately, or you will be destroyed. Nicole felt anger rising in her chest. 2 years? Earth had been under quarantine for 2 years? Who gave you the authority to quarantine us? We have never met any of you before. We didn't even know you existed until 30 seconds ago. How can we violate a law we never knew about? There was a pause. Then a different voice came through, one that sounded more organic, less mechanical. Human Captain. This is Commander Thelkos of the Council Defense Fleet. I apologize for the confusion. This situation is complicated. But you must return to Earth immediately. This is not negotiable. I want to speak with whoever is in charge, Nicole demanded. I want an explanation. You can't just tell us we're prisoners without explaining why. Captain Chen, please. I understand your frustration, but this is not the time. There is a crisis situation developing, and we do not have time to debate council policy. Power down your engines and return home. That is an order. Nicole looked at Kevin. He was shaking his head slightly. The tactical display showed the council ships had weapons locked on the Pathfinder. They could destroy the Earth vessel in seconds. But something about the situation felt wrong. If these aliens wanted to keep humanity contained, why did they sound so distracted? Why did they mention a crisis? No, Nicole said firmly. I'm not taking my ship home until someone explains what's going on. We came out here in peace. We deserve to know why we're being treated like criminals. On the bridge of his flagship, Commander Thelkos felt his frustration growing. He did not have time for this. Every minute spent dealing with the humans was a minute lost preparing for the harvester assault. But the human captain was right. They did deserve an explanation. They had done nothing wrong except exist. Before he could respond, Junior Analyst Kelrath's voice cut into the command channel. "Commander, I'm overriding your communications. This is my responsibility now." "Kelrath, what are you doing? This is a military operation, and you're handling it wrong. Let me talk to them." Kelrath opened a direct channel to the Pathfinder. "Captain Chen, my name is Kelrath. I'm an analyst with the Galactic Council. I'm going to tell you the truth because you deserve to know it. But I need you to listen carefully and try to stay calm." Nicole sat down in her command chair. Something in Kelrath's voice told her she was about to hear something important. "I'm listening." 2 years ago, the Galactic Council discovered Earth. We analyzed your planet, your species, your capabilities, and we decided you were too dangerous to allow into galactic society. We implemented a quarantine to contain you until we could decide what to do. We have been monitoring you without your knowledge. We have been keeping you isolated deliberately. Silence filled the Pathfinder's bridge. Nicole felt like she had been punched in the stomach. "You've been watching us? For 2 years? And you never said hello? You never introduced yourselves? You just decided to lock us away?" "Yes, and it was wrong. Some of us argued against it, but we were overruled. The Council was afraid of you. Your planet is one of the most hostile environments in the known galaxy. Your species has biological capabilities that seem impossible. You are strong, resilient, and determined. The Council saw you as a threat. So you imprisoned an entire species because you were afraid?" Nicole's voice was cold. "Because we're different?" "Yes, and I apologize for that. It was a mistake born from fear and ignorance. But Captain Chen, we have a bigger problem right now. An ancient enemy called the Harvesters has entered Council space. They are machine intelligence that consumes biological life. We are gathering every available ship to fight them at the Nexus Gate. That's why the quarantine satellites were pulled from your system. That's why we're here now instead of them. We're on our way to a battle we might not survive." Nicole processed this information. The anger was still there, burning hot. But underneath it was something else. These aliens had wronged humanity terribly. They had isolated Earth out of fear. They had denied humanity the chance to meet other species, to join the galactic community. That hurt worse than any physical attack could have. But they were also facing an existential threat. And despite everything, Nicole found herself caring about that. "What are these harvesters?" she asked. "Why are you so afraid of them?" Kelrath explained quickly. "The harvesters appeared every 1,000 years. They were unstoppable. They had near infinite numbers and superior technology. The last time they came, the Council barely survived. And you're going to fight them now? All of you? We have no choice. If the Nexus Gate falls, they will sweep through Council space. Millions will die, maybe billions." Nicole made her decision in seconds. It was probably the wrong decision. Earth Command would probably court-martial her for it. But it felt right. "We're coming with you." "What?" Thelkos's voice cut in. "Absolutely not. Human. You have no idea what you're volunteering for. The harvesters will destroy you. Maybe. But you need every ship you can get, right? The Pathfinder might be a science vessel, but we've got weapons. We've got shields. We've got a crew that knows how to improvise. And more importantly, we've got something to prove. Captain Chen, I admire your courage, but one ship will not make a difference in this battle. Then you've got nothing to lose by letting us try. Besides, I'm not asking for permission. This is our galaxy too, even if you tried to keep us out of it. If there's a threat to everyone, we're going to help stop it. That's what we do." Kevin leaned over from the tactical station. "Captain, with all due respect, are you insane? We're a science vessel with a crew of 43 people. They're talking about fighting an army of killer machines." The Battle of the Nexus Gate had been raging for 3 hours when the USS Pathfinder arrived. Captain Nicole Chen stared at the tactical display and her blood ran cold. The Council fleet was losing, badly. Hundreds of ships filled the space around the massive gate structure. The Council forces were trying to hold a defensive perimeter, but the harvesters were cutting through them like a hot knife through butter. The enemy ships were black and angular, covered in weapons that fired beams of energy that simply erased whatever they touched. No explosions, no debris, just empty space where Council ships had been seconds before. "How many harvesters?" Nicole asked quietly. Lieutenant Kevin Grant checked his sensors 3 times before answering. He did not want to believe the numbers. Over 600 confirmed enemy vessels, Captain. And they're still coming through some kind of portal. They have superior numbers, superior firepower, and superior shields. The Council is being slaughtered. Nicole watched as 3 Council cruisers concentrated their fire on a single Harvester battleship. Their weapons splashed harmlessly against its shields. The Harvester returned fire once. All 3 cruisers vanished. "This is insane," Chief Engineer Paul Martinez said over the intercom. "Captain, we're a science vessel. Our weapons can't even scratch their shields. What are we supposed to do here?" Nicole did not have an answer. She had brought her ship and crew to this battle because it was the right thing to do, because the Council needed help, even if they had wronged humanity. But now she was watching them die and she had no idea how to stop it. "Captain, incoming transmission from the Council flagship," Kevin announced. "It's Commander Thelkos." The crystalline alien appeared on the view screen. He looked exhausted. "Captain Chen, you should not have come. This battle is lost. We cannot stop them. The Nexus Gate will fall within the hour, and then they will sweep through Council space unchecked. There has to be something we can do," Nicole insisted. "There is not. We have thrown everything at them. They adapt to our tactics faster than we can develop new ones. They are machines, Captain. They do not tire. They do not fear. They do not stop. All I can do now is order the evacuation of civilian populations before the Harvesters reach the inner systems." Nicole looked at her crew. Kevin was running tactical simulations, trying to find any weakness in the Harvester formations. Paul was reviewing their ship systems, looking for anything they could use. Everyone was trying to help, but they were just 43 humans on one small ship. What could they possibly do against 600 enemy vessels? Then she had an idea. A crazy, probably suicidal idea, but it was better than doing nothing. "Kevin, can we overload our FTL drive?" Kevin looked up sharply. "What?" "Captain, if we overload the drive, it could tear the ship apart, or create a space-time rupture, or both. But what would happen to anything caught in that rupture?" Kevin thought for a moment. "Theoretically, they'd be pulled into the gravitational distortion. If it was big enough, it could destroy multiple ships. But Captain, we'd have to be right in the middle of the enemy formation, and we'd probably die in the process. Probably is not definitely. Paul, how long would you need to rig the drive for overload?" 10 minutes, maybe less. But Kevin's right. This is a one-way trip. Once I start the overload sequence, we cannot stop it. Nicole made her decision. "Do it. Kevin, plot a course into the thickest concentration of Harvester ships. We're going to punch a hole in their formation." "Captain, this is suicide," Kevin protested. "Maybe, but we're here to make a difference. This is how we do it. Now move." The Pathfinder broke formation and accelerated toward the Harvester fleet. The Council ships tried to call them back, but Nicole ignored the transmissions. She had committed to this course of action. She would see it through. The Harvesters detected the small Earthship approaching and allocated 3 vessels to intercept it, their weapons locked on. Nicole ordered evasive maneuvers, and Kevin piloted the ship through a series of impossible turns. The Pathfinder was small and nimble. The Harvester ships were massive and slow. For now, that gave them an advantage. "Drive overload in 30 seconds, Paul announced. His hands were steady as he worked, but sweat dripped down his face. He was pushing every system to the breaking point and praying they held together just long enough. "Captain, even if this works, the feedback will probably destroy our engines. We'll be dead in space." "Noted. Kevin, get us right into the middle of them." The Pathfinder dove into the Harvester formation. Enemy ships surrounded them on all sides. Weapons fire filled the space around them. But Kevin kept the ship moving, never staying in one place long enough for the enemy to lock on properly. "Drive overload in 10 seconds. 9. 8. The ship began to shake. Alarms blared across every station. The lights flickered. The bridge crew held onto their stations knowing what was coming. 3, 2, 1, overload initiated. Space twisted. The fabric of reality bent in ways it was never meant to bend. The Pathfinder's FTL drive created a gravitational well that pulled everything nearby toward a single point. 17 Harvester ships were caught in the distortion. They tried to escape, but gravity had them. They were pulled together, colliding in a chain reaction of explosions and torn metal. The Pathfinder survived. Barely. The ship tumbled through space, her engines dead. Her hull cracked in a dozen places, but she survived. Nicole pulled herself out of her chair, checking on her crew. Everyone was injured, but everyone was alive. "Damage report," she croaked. "Engines are gone," Paul reported. Life support is failing. We have maybe an hour of air left. But Captain, we did it. We took out 17 of them. On the Council flagship, Commander Thelko stared at his display in disbelief. The humans had just accomplished something impossible. They had destroyed 17 harvester vessels with a single primitive science ship. The tactic was insane. It violated every principle of safe space travel. It should have killed everyone on board, but it worked. And more importantly, it gave Thelkos an idea. All ship, he broadcast. Did you see what the humans just did? We can replicate that tactic. Volunteer crews can overload their drives and punch holes in the harvester formation. We can turn this battle around. But even as he gave the order, he knew it would not be enough. Council crews would volunteer, yes, but they would be slow, hesitant. They would second-guess the decision. They would calculate the odds of survival. It was not in their nature to embrace suicidal tactics. Then something happened that would be talked about in galactic history for the next 1,000 years. More ships appeared at the edge of the battle. Human ships, they were not military vessels. They were mining ships, colony transports, research vessels, even a few private yachts. The message Nicole had sent back to Earth had been received, and humanity had answered. Captain Jake Morrison brought the USS Endeavour, still not fully repaired from giving away its parts to save the Caldorian ship. Sergeant Danny Pierce led a team of human soldiers on a repurposed cargo hauler, ready to board enemy ships. Over 40 human vessels arrived within 10 minutes. None of them were warships. None of them had weapons designed for combat. But they came anyway, because other humans were in danger and because there was a threat that needed to be stopped. Nicole watched them arrive on her failing display screen, and she felt tears in her eyes. "That's humanity," she whispered. "That's who we are." The human fleet did not follow conventional tactics. They could not. They did not have the weapons or the training. So they improvised. Mining ships used their drilling lasers to cut into harvester hulls. Colony transports rammed enemy vessels at full speed, using their mass as weapons. Research vessels overloaded their drives like the Pathfinder had done, creating gravitational distortions that pulled harvester ships into each other. Sergeant Danny Pierce took his team on the most audacious boarding action in history. His cargo hauler matched velocity with a harvester command ship, and they blew a hole in its hull with mining explosives. Then they went inside wearing nothing but spacesuits and carrying whatever weapons they could cobble together. The harvesters were machines, but they had never encountered anything like humans in close combat. Pierce and his team moved through the ship like they were born for this. They found the command core and planted every explosive they had. They barely made it out before the ship detonated from within. The tide of battle shifted. The harvesters, for the first time in their long history, began to recalculate. They were winning by the numbers. They had superior technology. But these humans were doing things that should not be possible. They were taking losses that should have made them retreat. They were using tactics that violated every principle of logical warfare, and they were not stopping. The Harvester collective intelligence ran the calculations. Victory was still possible, but the cost would be too high. These humans would inflict unacceptable damage before they fell. The entire fleet might be depleted fighting this one battle. That would leave them vulnerable to counterattacks in other sectors. For the first time in recorded history, the Harvesters withdrew from a battle they were winning. They retreated through their portal and sealed it behind them. The battle was over. The Council had survived. In the aftermath, Nicole sat in her damaged captain's chair, breathing recycled air that was rapidly running out. Her ship was crippled,